Good afternoon and welcome welcome to the March 22nd edition of the Gold Ghosts and Guns Short News. My name's Tom Luongo. We've got a lot to talk about. Before I get started though, I'm out here on my porch. I know some of you I've tried this before. It hasn't really worked very well. So I wanted to see if the camera settings were better, two, the video settings were better, as in, is it streaming properly? I can't tell. I'm not about to try. So tell me if there's any drop frames or anything along those lines, so I know whether or not I can do this in the future or not, because on beautiful spring days like this here in North Florida, I want to be here and not trapped up in my room. So then I get to pull the camera back a little bit and do the whole thing and do all that. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's good. I'm getting feedback from that's good. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard. So yesterday I tweeted out, hey, you know, if this anarcho-libertarian can get off his high horse and donate $5 to Tulsi Gabbard, so can you. It's necessary to get her voice into the conversation. As Rothbard always said, never let the perfect be the enemy of the good. She's not perfect, as we've talked about in previous videos on this subject, but she's but on the most important issue of the day, she's on the right side of the argument. And that's all that's all that really matters. And so I got really good response off of it from a lot of people, including David Stockman, who then said, "Challenge accepted, Tom," and donated $2,000 to her, which was unbelievably generous. And I know that it generated a couple other people to donate to her, because as we all know, as if you don't know, Gabbard needs 65,000 individual donors in order to qualify for the DNC primary debates, to be on the stage next to, you know, Kamala Harris and Beto and all the rest of them. So, and my argument is very simple, right? One, she should be on the stage. So she needs around 20,000, maybe 24,000 new donors. At this point, I think she's up around 41, 42 at this point. And if I could throw an extra 5 or 10 her way, then I will. 10, 20, maybe 50. That'd be great, right? So, because the point is that she should absolutely be up on that stage, forcing the Democratic candidates to address her positions, either pro or con or whatever. She should be there to move the conversation and destroy some of the monolith of the DNC's current crop of candidates. They don't want her on the stage at all. They've already tried to, you know, get rid of her. They've already done the smear tactic thing. She was on Colbert last week, and he just was terrible to her. He was absolutely vile to her, and she just stood there and took it with great aplomb and dealt with it. She didn't complain. She knows what she's up against, and she has that quality. She has that, I hate to say it, she has that Ron Paul quality where she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's up against, and she doesn't care. And that makes her someone, of course, as we've argued before, someone worth our time to at least consider. I'm not saying vote for the woman. I'm not saying campaign for her or anything else. I'm saying, with we as libertarians, if she needs another 24,000 people, should we be the 24,000 people who get her over the top? Because we're outside of their machine. We're outside of their collective, as it were, right? Progressives have no problem crossing party lines and sabotaging primaries, Republican primaries. Republicans have no problem reaching across to Democratic primaries and sabotage their primaries. Well, why is we as libertarians, why should we just sit on the sidelines, you know, clutching our pearls of the non-aggression principle to our chest and claiming the moral high ground, which is exactly the kind of argument I got into this morning with one of these classic losertarians who can't see the forest for the trees and can't understand about what it's costing, how much it's actually costing him or her, I don't even know if it's a him or her, to not support Gabbard by giving her $1. It's $1. It's all you got to do is you're going to give her $1, right? Because from the perspective of the non-aggression principle, the minute you start accepting the idea that you can engage in electoral politics in any way, you're already violating the non-aggression principle. Honestly, you're violating the non-aggression principle, as I pointed out to him, every time you spend $1. Because the dollar is a corrupt currency issued through forcible means via and supported by wealth extraction, which is all just, it's all terribly, horribly against the non-aggression principle in every way. So if you call yourself a libertarian, or you call yourself any kind of agorist or anarcho-capitalist or any of these other terms, you're already violating the NAP every time you frickin' breathe. Every time you pay your taxes, you're violating the NAP. If you're not using Bitcoin for all of your transactions, you're violating the NAP. So why don't you get off your moral high ground and get off your high horse and give the woman $1? Because it's $1 well spent. Because here's the basic argument. I'm going to now use the classic reason. This is a classic example of why the law of diminishing marginal utility is the only thing that truly matters in all of this stuff. And we've talked about the law of diminishing marginal utility before. That's the law that says for every unit of a particular thing that you acquire, the next one you acquire will be worth less to you, will have lesser impact. So here's the question. Is the marginal utility of giving Tulsi Gabbard $1 higher than giving some libertarian candidate $101? You were going to give the libertarian candidate, assuming that you were going to give them $100, and you were going to give Tulsi Gabbard 0. When you have that next dollar to spend, you don't make decisions in the aggregate. We all make decisions at the margin. I love the fact that this person today tried to tell me I should go back and read Mises and Rothbard. I'm like, no, you should read Mises and Rothbard. I've already read it. The difference is that I actually understood it. You know, it's kind of like that scene from A Fish Called Wanda. Apes don't read philosophy. Yes, they do, Otto. They just don't understand it. Aristotle was not Belgian, right? So that's the kind of moment I had this morning on Twitter. And you guys know that I never get involved in Twitter fights with anybody. But today it was worth it because, because losertarians are losers. This is why I'm no longer a member of the party. It's why I sat there and watched them on their high horse, allow the Koch brothers to take the place over, allow neocons to come in and destroy the party from within. I'm like, I'm not going to spend my time doing this stuff. It makes no sense to me. There's no marginal utility in it for me. But there is a marginal utility of giving Tulsi Gabbard $1 to go up on the stage and espouse anti-empire rhetoric to millions of people. I think that's worth $1. To me, it was worth $5. To be honest with you, it's really worth about $50. But, I'm only willing to virtue signal to $5. So, at the end of the day, like it or not, non-aggression principle, non-aggression principle, thievery, taxation, this, that, all these highfalutin libertarian concepts, someone is going to rule you after November 2020. Choose wisely. Because at the end of the day, when you're looking at the situation under the law of marginal utility, you give $1 to Gabbard, and you give $100 to some local libertarian candidate running for, city council or whatever. And I don't say you shouldn't do that. I absolutely think you should. I just think that, when you're looking at that $101, what are they going to spend it on that they haven't already spent it on before? How much bang for your buck do you get for $1 to Tulsi Gabbard? It doesn't matter if you're a libertarian. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican. It doesn't matter if you're a dyed-in-the-wool socialist Democrat. Choice to me is obvious. Right? It's a very simple thing. If you want X to happen in this world, then you're going to have to put your money on the table. There's no other way around it. And it's really, at the end of the day, no different than Goldman Sachs turning around and giving Donald Trump $10,000 to run for president, to his campaign, and Hillary Clinton getting $250,000. They do this. All the major companies do this. They all hedge their bets. They all give money to both sides. They just give their money like good options traders do. They have puts and they have calls, right? They go long Clinton. They go long both of them, but they go long 10 times more than the one versus the other based on what they think are the relative odds of the person becoming president. But you have a very clear choice here. And it's a simple choice. And it's not just Tulsi Gabbard. She's just an example, and this is just a simple example of why when people are acting and arguing purely from an ideological position, and I called this personality, I said, this is all about you and your ideological purity test. This is all about your image of you. I'm like, dude, you already steal every day anyway, so don't sit here and tell me that you're not going to steal. Give me a break. And you already told me that you're willing to give money to a local libertarian candidate. Well, he really started off by espousing I should give that money to Adam Koch. No, I'm not going to give that money to Adam Koch because Adam Koch is an idiot. I like him, but I'm not going to vote for him, and because he has no chance of winning, and I'm not going to waste my time. And he's been around this movement now at this point to a point where, I mean, he's not an idiot per se, but he doesn't have the stuff. He doesn't have any of the stuff necessary to win an election. Neither do I, by the way. That's why I don't run for political office. Okay? Dyed-in-the-wool radicals like myself and Anna Koch, at the end of the day, we're not electable. And so people shouldn't give money to their campaigns unless it's purely for educational purposes. Which is why I do what I do today, and I'm not a member of the LP. So that's what we're dealing with here, okay? And so, not to say that you shouldn't give money to Adam Koch if you think he's worthwhile. I don't happen to, so therefore I'm not going to. But I applaud him running for office, but I really wish that he was a better candidate. All right, so now, but that's my personal opinion on the subject, and if Adam Koch doesn't like what I have to say, well, he can comment down below. That would be fine. I don't care. But at the end of the day, there's value in someone like me, or David Stockman, or this person I was arguing with, or anybody listening to my voice right now, giving $1 of their time to Tulsi Gabbard. As I pointed out in the Twitter fight this morning, I said, look, you've already wasted more than $1 worth of opportunity cost of your life. If you make $20 an hour, if you make $20 an hour at your job, or capable of making $20 an hour, why are you wasting an hour arguing with me on Twitter? You just wasted $20. You could have given $1 of that to Tulsi Gabbard and actually gotten more value out of your life than arguing with me. Moreover, and this is the important part, you gain a tremendous amount of political and emotional and cachet with people on the other side of the fence, with people on the other side of the ideological divide. That's what's so important about this. That's what you have to remember. Okay? When I ran for political office, when I ran the Ottewa County Libertarian Party here in Gainesville, okay, I made contacts with people who I disagreed with on every fundamental level, but all of them said the same thing. It's good to see you out here trying to and showing that you care. Even if I disagree with you. People will say, I'm not going to vote for you, but I'm really happy that you're doing what you're doing. It's great to see people want to get involved and provide a different point of view. And more importantly, you're showing that you're willing to reach across the ideological divide and find common ground on the things you do agree about, as opposed to constantly just doing nothing but bicker and argue about the things you don't agree with. Because it's easy to sit on your personal hobby horse, claim the moral high ground, as this person did to me 3 times this morning, and I just shot them all down because I'm just not. I don't care. You're not going to. I don't give a crap about your libertarian ideological purity test. I'm well beyond those days. Okay. It's not about that. The people like that I encountered this morning are just libertarian social justice warriors. They're not interested in winning. They're not interested in advancing their ideas. They're interested in being ideologically pure. They're not interested in educating. They're not. They think they are, but they're not, because they're not willing to actually do the hard work to reach across the divide and talk to the enemy and find common ground with the enemy. Because it's the only way you're going to get anywhere. Because politics is useless. Politics got us into this mess. It's not going to get us out of it. Tulsi Gabbard's not going to save the world any more than Donald Trump was ever going to save the world. Still voted for Trump. And as angry as I am with him, as disappointed as I am with him, I don't regret my decision either. Why should I? I made the best decision with the information I had at that moment in time. And that's what we should all do. And if you're not willing to do that, and you're not willing to be flexible like that, you don't care about your community enough to reach across to the people who are in your community who disagree with you and who will never, ever agree with you about certain issues, then you don't actually believe in a free society. Because the hallmark of a free society is that we get along with each other even though we disagree. The great part about the free society, about voluntary exchange, is that we don't have to like each other to transact goods and services. But transacting goods and services creates a bond between us that really is far stronger than any political discussion we can have in an open forum or on a shitbag place like Twitter or whatever. I used to go and sell goat cheese and goat milk and yogurt at the local farmer's market so I could talk to crunchy people. People who hated me. My positions. My politics. They hated them. They loved my food. We always got a chance to sit down and and every once in a while we could sit down and have a good conversation. They didn't have to agree with me. They didn't have to like me. But they respected me for it. And they were pleased and happy as punch to spend money with me. That's what community is. That's political action. And I agree with that. So was given Tulsi Gabbard $1. That makes sense. All right, I'm out. I'm done. So this has been the Gold, Goats, and Guns short news. I'm not even sure this is news. More like the short rant for the day. Yes, there will be a live stream tonight at 8:30. We'll be discussing Brexit, among other things. Follow my work over at tomluongo.me, as always. And you can follow me on Twitter whenever I get engaged, TFL1728. And you can support the work over at Patreon or donate via PayPal. There are links in the description down below. Please give a like and subscribe down below. It would be great. We'll see you then. You guys take care. You have a great afternoon. Talk soon. Keep your stick on the ice.